Hey YouTube, this is Joe the Geek, and I'm here in this video to give you my review of OS X Mavericks. Okay, so the first thing you notice about Mavericks after you install it on your Mac is this big, huge green and blue wave, and this replaces the popular Galaxy wallpaper that Apple was using since all the way, I believe it was Leopard, and they've been using it for a while, so it was time for a change. So they brought in a big wave from, I assume it's from the Mavericks area of California, which is where this operating system is named after. And Apple is now going to start naming their operating systems after, I guess, Californian locations, because that's where OS X is built and designed and made. So apart from the wallpaper, not a whole lot changed. Still got the menu bar, still got the dock, same average Mac stuff. And let's go in and take a look at some of the awesome new features that we get with Mac. Okay, so first of all, let's go into Finder and see the new changes that have been made in this Essential Mac application. Okay, so pretty much the same Finder look. We got the, average window here. Same, view, buttons, and sidebar. Everything is pretty much normal. Except in one area. We now have tabs. So you'll notice that this is similar to the Safari tab view, in that we just click to add a tab, and we can browse through two things at once, which is really a nice feature. And we can also create new windows out of tabs, so let's see here. I'll just make a few different windows here. Just really clutter up my desktop. And then we can drag them into one tab. You can just go into Window and merge all windows, and they'll all be merged into 3 tabs. And as you can see here, it's a great way to browse. Of course, we can put stuff in different tabs if we want. So we could put this into Documents. And it's a really great way to work efficiently. And Finder is now a full screen application, so we can just take it full screen and browse and work efficiently. And the next thing in Finder that you've probably noticed is right here. This new button is tags, so we can add tags now to our files, which is a great feature. So as you can see here, I have a few tags. I have for YouTube, school, and then I have writing. So all the stuff that's related to a certain thing, or a certain function of your Mac, you can just tag it, and you can edit the color and stuff. So let's go in here, and let's just go ahead and tag this document right here. So we can go here, hit a tag, and then you can see we have a tag already there, school. So let's just go ahead and add another tag for writing. And then you can see here, it has 2 tags, blue and yellow, and you can change the color as well when you make it. And you can see here, since this is tagged to school, it shows up there. Then it also shows up in writing, right here. And we can edit the tags again, so we can remove all tags, or we can just edit the few that we want. And everything is nice and organized. So this is great for when you, so let's say you make a YouTube video and you download a soundtrack, like here, and instead of having to search for it, just after you download it, go into Downloads and put a tag on it, and then you have all your YouTube stuff related, all your YouTube related stuff right here. And it's a great way to work and manage your files. So that's Finder, and this view actually is not enabled by default. What you have to do is go into View and be sure that you have the tab bar enabled. So if you have no tabs, or if you just have one tab, there'll be an option to hide it. And this is the default Finder. This is basically how Finder comes after you upgrade, but you want to just hit this, or Command-Shift-T, put the tab bar back, and that way you can add tabs, and it's a great way to manage your files. So that's Finder in OS X. Now with Mavericks, we get 2 new apps, Maps and iBooks. Let's go ahead and look at them now. We'll go into iBooks first. So as you can see, it's just kind of like the iBooks on the iPad or iPhone. We have all the same books that we have in the iPhone or iPad, and we can read them really nicely. So here's iPad user guide. Let's go ahead and look at this. And you can see here's our book, and we can scroll through. We just swipe through like this. And we can go back to our book collection. And we can even read 2 books at once. We can view a table of contents here. And we can add highlights and notes. So if we were, studying, or if this was a textbook, or something that we needed to take notes of, for example, book report for school, we could just select some text and add a note. And of course, this is full screen. And we can scroll through our books. We can even buy books as well by going into the eBookstore. See here. And we can buy books. Or get sampled. And it's a great way to read books, just like you've become accustomed to, most likely on your iPad or iPhone or iPod Touch. So it's a great way to, now you can read your books on your Mac as well as your iOS devices. So that is OS Mavericks. The next app is Maps. Okay, so here is Maps on OS X Mavericks, and it is just like iBooks in the sense that it has been brought over from iOS. So since Mountain Lion and even Lion, we've been getting a lot of iOS features like Launchpad, stuff that looks, like iOS. And so Apple continues to bring over stuff from iOS because, iOS has a lot of good ideas in it, and so they like to add stuff to the Mac from iOS, and so Maps is a perfect example of that, as well as iBooks. So it's pretty easy to use. You just zoom in with 2 fingers, like this, and you can move around with 2 fingers, like this. It can be a little tricky to get used to, but you just kind of have to take 2 fingers and scroll around like that. And then you can scroll with 2 fingers. And you can drag with 3 fingers. And if you want to change your perspective, you can just use this little compass here. As you can see that I'm dragging around. You just take the compass right here, and you can drag it around and change your perspective. How much of the horizon you want to see, stuff like that. And the 3D data is amazing on here. It looks great because you can see it all clearly. I mean, look at that. You can see the trees right by the Eiffel Tower. It's just amazing. And then there are some other things that are worth looking at. So let me show you some other 3D data. It is really incredible on the Mac. And here's the Roman Colosseum. And it is equally as amazing on the huge Mac screen. It's really, really cool to see this. I mean, look at this. You can see inside the windows here. And it's really cool to be able to do that on the huge Mac screen. And we are able to get directions. So, let's say here we want to get some directions from the Eiffel Tower. And then what we can do here is send these directions to our iPad or iPhone. So I'm going to go ahead and send it to my iPhone. Go there. The directions from my Mac right on my iPhone's lock screen. So a really helpful feature there to be able to get directions on the Mac and then have them sent to my iPhone, which I carry with me, and I can get directions and have it navigate me on the go but it's a lot easier to actually find the place where I want to go on the Mac. So that's a great feature of OS X Mac. Apple also brought updates to Safari in macOS X Mavericks. So I'm going to show you these right here. So we have this new top sites page, which is really nice. It's a lot more flat, as you probably noticed if you're familiar with the old version of Safari. There was more of like a skeuomorphic glass-like 3D like dome effect. It was kind of like a circular dome type shape, but now it's just flat and pretty simple. But we can access all of our websites here, so we can just browse lots of different things here, and we can get to it from right here. And we also have all of our bookmarks right here. That's about it in terms of what has changed in Safari. It's still an awesome web browser. You can still have tabs, and still full screen, stuff like that. And all in all, it is a very good browser, and compared to the other ones that I've used on Windows, it just doesn't compare. It's just really a great browser. It's safe, it's secure, it's really fast, and it works great. So these few updates that Apple has added have helped make it an even better browser. So that's the few changes in Safari. The next thing we have near here is in Notification Center. So now when we receive a notification like this, we have the option to either close it or snooze it right from the notification. So we don't have to open up the Reminders app. All we have to do is simply click on it or hit snooze or close, and then we can easily get to the reminder or the message or the email or any other app that's sending us a response right from the notification that pops up here. And we got the same notification. However, one thing you probably noticed with the Notification Center is that there was no like satin type rugged worn background. It used to look like a real worn piece of fabric, but now it's just a flat gray background, and that carries over through all of the apps. So if we go into our calendar here, it is now a simple flat, much more like iOS 7 calendar. No more stitching or no more having it look like a real calendar. It just is a calendar app now with the same standard gray window, and it looks a lot more like the iOS 7 calendar, and it actually is really nice. It looks clean and smooth, and it actually seems like it's a little bit more easier to use. Another thing that we can do here is we can add an event, and let's see here, here's today. We can add a new event. The cool thing is that we can add a location. So then what we can do here is, once we have a location, we can put that in there, and it will tell us how long it expects us to take when we're going there, depending on our mode of transportation. So if we say we're driving to a certain place, it will measure the traffic conditions of that place, of the route that we decide to take, and it will alert us when we need to leave based on current traffic conditions. And so that is a really nice feature, and it's another just good benefit of having iOS and Mac devices, because we can hook up the directions, and we can easily get directions. We can be able to when we need to leave, and then we can get the directions on our iPhone. And so it's just a great synchronization of devices, and really great calendar app here. Notes has also been updated here, so it looks, again, more flat. It's funny how Apple took some things and made them flat, and took out the skeuomorphism of them, but in other ways it didn't. It kept, like, the icons the same. But I imagine Apple will do a major overhaul of OS X maybe sometime in 2014, rather than, doing them at the same time of iOS 7. They probably decided to do iOS 7 first, and that because if they did Mac OS X, it probably would be a little bit too overwhelming to do two operating system overhauls in the same year. But I imagine in the coming months we should see a huge overhaul. Hopefully at WWDC we'll see a big overhaul of Mac OS X, just like they did with iOS 7, because I imagine they're trying to put the same look between the two operating systems, because this still looks very much like iOS 6. Also, Contacts has adopted the same flat look, as well as dashboard and mission control. So no more like worn cloth background. It's just this cool flat gray background, which actually goes along with macOS 10 very nice. So overall, macOS 10 Mavericks is a wonderful update. It is free, and it is 10.9, so it's the 10th installment actually of Mac OS 10, because the original was Mac OS 10, and then 10.1 and 10.2, so that amounts to the 10th operating system. It definitely seems very minor compared to the huge overhaul of iOS 7, but I imagine that Apple has some big things in store for the next operating system that they release for the Mac. I'm hoping that they do more of an iOS 7 like overhaul, because I really like the look of iOS 7. I don't know most people do that have downloaded it, and so I think it would go great if Apple did a similar look for macOS 10 to kind of unify the two and make them in a way not like the way that Microsoft is going, like using the same exact operating system for tablets and desktops and laptops, but in a way to where they're more similar, but they still have their pros and cons for each different use and application. So I really think that Apple is doing the right thing here. They're not merging their operating systems, but they're just bringing features over that work good on each thing. For example, Maps works great on the Mac. It just makes sense to have it, and iBooks makes sense on the Mac. But something, like Passbook, obviously, wouldn't do good on the Mac, and that's still why I think iOS is not on a Mac hybrid yet, and why macOS 10 isn't on an iPad yet. They just don't work as well. One is designed for a trackpad, and one is designed for a touchscreen, and they both are designed very well for their different uses. And Mavericks continues to prove that Mac OS 10 is really a awesome operating system. So I highly recommend downloading this. Even if you have an older Mac, it does have a lot of technologies like compressed memory and improved battery life technologies to help make the most of your Mac's power and RAM. And it shouldn't be an update that's going to slow your Mac down. It's going to be an update that's going to help your Mac get the most out of its processor and its RAM. So it really is a great update to get, and I highly recommend it. And you can get one, I believe you can get the update all the way going back to like a 2007 iMac, all models of MacBook Air, and I believe going back to 2008 MacBook Pro. And like I said, it is free. So if you're on like Snow Leopard, it's a great way to get all the features from Lion, all the features from Mountain Lion, and all the features from Mavericks all in one for free. So you would have paid, if you started off with Lion, you would have paid $20, and then Mountain Lion another $20, and Mavericks is free now, but you would have paid $40, and you're getting all those features for free. So it's a great update, and I highly recommend getting it, as I said before. And yeah, thanks for watching. This is the end of this review, and once again, I am Jer the Geek, and please subscribe if you like tech videos like this, as well as LEGO stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next geeky video.